going to do the most air conditioning.
Most air conditioning. Mass air conversion?
Mass air conversion.
What's up, everybody? How you doing on this lovely day? I got my little helper today. We're going to be doing the mass air conversion on the 86. And guys, we are absolutely so close to getting this car running. I mean,
like always. Look at it doing like a. You're doing like the tapes.
Yeah. Guys, listen. I mean, seriously, I'm super excited. I know you're excited.
Me too.
We're gonna be turning this engine on. It's gonna come to life really soon. Seriously, there are just 3 things left to turn the key. 4 things. I need the coolant hoses, the upper and lower radiator hoses. Hopefully I'll get that for Christmas. Put a new O2 sensors in, because, dude, check this out. The O2 sensors that I bought for the car are the O2 sensors that came with 89. Apparently, the plug is unique to an 85 through 86, so 2-year only plug. Of course, the 89 exhaust had brand new O2 sensors, so I took those O2 sensors from the 89, put them into the exhaust, and realized that they don't fit wrong plug type. But that doesn't matter. We have a lot to do. I got to put the fuel pump in, like I said, the upper and lower radiator hose, and we got to get the mass air conversion done. Once that's done, it's just a matter of I tested the fuel pressure on it last night. Turned the key on a couple times, and I sure enough have fuel pressure with no leaks. Filled it with oil, and I put the serpentine belt on. So, yeah, I made a short clip last night with the serpentine belt on, so check that out right now. Quick update here. So we got a serpentine belt that is just a little bit too short. This is the one that I put on it, or I had on it when I took off the smog pump, and it's 84.5 inches. Which worked perfect when I didn't have the underdrive pulleys. Since these are a little bit smaller, the tensioner's basically maxed out and it's all the way down, so it needs to come up this way, and the belt itself needs to be a little bit shorter. So, if you guys don't know how to measure this stuff, it is always part of the part number. If you can see this here, that is a 4060845. The 6 indicates that it's a 6-rib serpentine, and the 845 means it's 84.5 inches long. So you can kind of determine, based on your stock belt and how loose it is, the length of it. So I went ahead and went 1 inch shorter. So I went to Summit and got me an 83.5. So the part number simply is 4060835. Continental Elite Poly V belt 4060835. So I'm going to slap this on, make sure it fits. Make sure I don't have to send it back, and also picked up some Comp Cam's break-in oil. But today, this series, or this video, is very, very specific to converting your 1986 sophisticated 1986 Mustang to mass air conversion, mass airflow, from speed density to mass airflow. Okay, before we get to the mass air conversion, I'm just going to slap this fan on, but I wanted to get my little son here involved. And it turns out he fits in a lot of places that I can't fit in, which is super helpful. See if you can try that with your fingers right there. No, you can't. Here, buddy.
Thanks.
Put that over there. Push up on it.
Away.
Other way. There you go. Alright. I like to put these in at the same time together. Well, that was super easy. The fan is back on. Might be wondering why I'm going back with mechanical fan, not electric. Mainly because I just don't have one, and I don't have the relay, and I don't really want to wire it right now. These are stupid reliable, and these are going to cool very, very well. It's got a new clutch on it, and man, I don't know, for streetability, right now I'm going with this. And we're about to make a trip to North Fort Worth. Me and my son here to pick up some terminals. Again, I'll go into way more detail on what you guys need to do to convert this thing, but do know that you do need these little pins that go into your ECU. They're the female pins that click on the harness side. So you push them to the harness, and they click into the ECU, the itself. You can go out and buy yourself a mass air harness. We're gonna make one, so we're gonna go through all that.
Curtis.
Thank you so much to the gentleman on the North Texas Fox Body Club that is giving me these pins. He has some spare harness that he's gonna be giving me a few so we can rod the pins off it. So it's great to know people, man. So we'll see you guys in a bit. Man, I think we're here, buddy.
We are here.
That's a Mustang. I think we're here. Oh, is that a manual? Is it really? That's awesome, man. Run, buddy, run!
No, it's E303.
Oh, cool, man.
Program heads. Supposedly ported the code rate. They cut
Yeah,
it.
they cut and shorted it, yeah. Or cut and poured it and re-weld them.
They didn't shorten this one, but they they supposedly.
Man, I've seen and heard of this gun. I've never actually seen it. Or heard of it, but never actually seen it.
What else? It's got
The cam sounds good.
yeah.
Hey, we got wires, Connor. Yay! And we got low fuel, and we got an hour drive home because traffic at 5 o'clock is going to be so bad. I'm only 28 miles from home, but it's going to take me an hour to get home. First thing you're going to need is the mass air sensor. I've pulled out the tube because I really didn't want to pull off the sensor itself. This sensor is out of a Lightning. I believe it's a first gen Lightning. And it's calibrated to match your injector sets. First thing you're going to need obviously is a mass air that matches your injectors that are in your car. And the pigtail you'll need for it as well. This one's obviously been cut. Doesn't matter. It's going to work just fine. That's what we're going to use. Second and most important thing you're going to need is a computer. We'll go over what computer that is in 1 second. Third thing you're going to need is wire. Now, if you go out and buy a harness or a conversion kit from LMR or American Muscle or something similar, you don't need to do this. However, in this video, we're going to make our own harness. Some spare wire for the terminal pins is necessary for making your harness, and that's it. Really, this is all you need. The brains of it is going to be your mass air and the computer. These are the two things you need. We're going to make our own harness, so I needed some wire. I've got some other colors over there, some black and red, but I do have some spools of wire to do this job. And the reason why I've got this is these are the terminal connections we're going to need, because we're going to need to add some connections to the computer, and we're going to need to move some connections around. So really all I need is two, maybe even a couple more if I want to remove the vehicle speed sensor. But yeah, material wise, this is what you need. Most importantly, what you need is a schematic. Okay, so it may not exactly be a schematic, but this more or less is posted on the wall for a reason. This is my Bible. This is what I'm going by. This is everything that I'm going to be doing with this. I've gone through this, and I've gone through a couple other schematics and diagrams and made sure that this does in fact match what we're going to be doing and what the pinout layout is, or the pin layout is on this diagram here. So these are two important ones. This is not necessarily important for you because this is specific to me, and this is specific to running a Lightning master sensor. So we take a look at this guy first. What you're looking at here is specific to me, but it's not specific to other folks running master on their 88 to 93 Mustang. This connector up here is for the 88 to 93, possibly even 94, 95 style. It's a 4-pin style master connector. The one down here is a 6-pin style. It just so happens that the one that came on my car is a 6-pin off of Lightning. So what you'll notice is the center here, the center 4, A, B, C, and D are the exact same A, B, and C, D on this pin, on this connector as well. Just make sure you have the orientation correct with the key notch being down. In A, on both connectors, you've got 12-volt power source. B is going to be our ground wire. C is going to be the mass return. This is going to be the mass air return signal. And then D, you got the mass signal. So this is going to be the actual mass airflow signal output in D. Okay guys, what you're looking at here is a layout of the pins and how they correspond to your harness based on certain years of Ford vehicles. The two that are in concern here are two that we are going to be focusing most on is going to be the 86-88 speed density in this column, and the 88 through 93 computer that's in this column. So this is the computer I've got, this is the computer that's in it, so this is how my harness is wired. We need to make the harness match this, since we'll be putting the computer in to my 86 from an 89. Now this is basically in a nice row of pin 1 through pin 60, and each pin tells you exactly what the sensor that wire goes to in your vehicle. It's really simple, guys. I know this may look sort of confusing. I've got highlighted here all the major changes we'll be making on the 86 harness to match the 89, but it's really quite simple. That's all we're doing. We're taking the changes in 86, matching them to 89, and since we're adding master to our vehicle where 86 didn't have it, we'll be adding the pins in for the master harness so that the pins match where they should be, where the 89 computer would be expecting that signal to come into from. I'm going to go just kind of down the list here and kind of explain all the changes that we're going to be doing on all the pin changes. So first here, pin number 3, this is the vehicle speed sensor. This is this vehicle speed sensor positive from the 89 and a vehicle speed sensor negative. My car does not have this. It has a vehicle speed sensor, but it's used for the cruise control module, and it's not necessarily used for the computer. The computer is not expecting to see the signal, whereas in the 89 it is. This is not 100% necessary. You notice I've got this highlighted. I've got exclamation marks in here. That is because a lot of guys don't even bother moving this. However, since I think the computer is expecting this, I'm going to go the extra step and make sure that it gets a signal from these two, from pin 3 and pin 6. So we'll be adding 2 wires spliced from the vehicle speed sensor positive and vehicle speed sensor negative into pin 3 and pin 6. Moving down to pin 9. This is the first one, so this is an empty slot again on my 86 harness. This will be another location. We'll be adding a pin on an 86. The pin number 9 is the mass airflow return signal. So this will go out into your harness. That goes actually all the way up to the mass air sensor. If you go out and buy a kit from LMR or American Muscle, and I say kit, a conversion harness, all it's going to come with, guys, is 4 wires and a mass air sensor. 2 of those wires are going to be pins. The other 2 are going to come with taps. The 2 wires that it comes with, though, will be tan. One of them will be tan, and I believe the other one is blue. The tan wire indicates it's the mass return, and on my harness, actually on any master harness, that's going to go into the letter C location that I showed you guys in the previous diagram. Moving down into pin 19, this is the second change. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to miss this, guys. This is important. It's pin 11 on an 86 is your TAD. Now, the TAD is actually on a different location on an 89 harness. So if I plug this in, it's going to go to, well, nothing. So there's nothing here. So all I'm doing is removing the pin from 11 and bringing it down. I'll show you guys in a second. Down to pin number 32 on the 86 harness. So pin 32 is where the TAD is expected on an 89. Pin 19 is your fuel pump monitor. This guy is a signal that comes from your fuel pump relay that tells the computer how much voltage is putting out to the fuel pump. The computer on an 89 is expecting this, so we're going to add this into pin 19 so that it does get the correct signal from the fuel pump relay. So I mentioned we move pin 11. We're going to move pin 11 down to 32 because that is the TAD signal on an 89 harness. See how I'm going out, guys, here? See the pattern? So moving on down. Okay, guys, moving down on the rest of the pins, 33 through 60. I'll have this. I found this online. Somebody made this. Whoever made this, God bless them. This is a lifesaver, and this is the way I like to see things. But if you want to follow schematics or you just want to follow some steps, you can do that as well, and that's what we'll be doing. Pin number 40 here is going to be a black ground. This is a black wire. This is where you're going to tap in. So pin 40, we're not going to move or change on the harness. But we are going to tap into the wire coming out of pin 40 for our ground signal, our ground cable that goes to the master harness. Pin 38 has a wire going to it because pin 38 is your TAB, your tab, on an 89 The tab is in pin number 38, but we're on my 86. It is in pin 51. So pin 51 will move. Notice the big arrows. Move to 38. Up here I had the same big arrow. Move 11 to 32. And then the last one we need to worry about is pin 57, which is going to be also a tap that just ties into the power wire into your signal. So let's cap the steps real quick, and I'm going to put this into the list here. Let's zoom out so you can see this. So if you're just doing the basic steps to convert your 86 to mass air or your 86 through 88 to mass air, what you're going to need to do is move 2 wires, tap in 2 wires, and then add 2 pins. You'll be adding the blue wire for the mass air signal into pin 50, and then you'll be adding the tan wire into pin 9 for the mass return. You'll be splicing into a power wire to pin 57 for your master harness, and you'll be splicing in your negative master harness wire into pin 40. That's a ground wire. Then you're going to need to move pin 11, which is your TAD, down to pin 32, and move your tab from 51 to pin 38. That's the necessary steps you need. I'm going to go to the extra step, and I'm actually going to go ahead and also add the vehicle speed sensor to pin 3 and 6, and I'm going to add the fuel pump relay monitor into pin 19. Let's talk about the computers real quick. There are multiple years of computers that you can use for your car, depending on if it's a manual or automatic. Now, the most common ones are an A9L and an A9P. The A9P being from an automatic car and an A9L coming from a manual car. If you have a manual car, both of these computers will work. If you have an automatic car, you cannot use an A9L. You have to use the A9P. I know there's other years, there's other models that will work. These are the 2 most common. That's the 2 I'm explaining about. So there are other years and there are other computers. Just do some research. It's all over the internet. Tons of people have done this. So my car wasn't automatic. Excuse me. My 89 donor car wasn't automatic, so it had an A9P in it. This is the computer I'm using to convert into my 86. I know it will work because we're going to make the pins match what this computer is expecting. This, if you want it with a wire dangling, it already has a Bama custom tune chip inside of it that was tuned to that motor that we pulled and put into the 86 out of the 89. It also has a 3-way adjustable tune. Actually, it's got, I don't know how many tunes on it. I have no idea what the tunes are, but it's got tunes on it. That's cool. Okay, hopefully you guys didn't just get completely bored, turn off this video and delete me from your channel list. Hopefully you're just like, okay dude, get to it. I'm trying to go into as much depth as I can, and I'm trying not to bore you guys. But I'm going to make my own harness. That's where we're going to start. We're going to make the harness that goes to the master sensor. We're going to get everything hooked up, feed it to the firewall. That's going to be 4-volt wires. And then everything else is going to be just tapping and moving pins around into your ECU. It's really that easy. So I got some wire. Let's make a 4-cable harness. Okay, so I kind of measured, and I know how long my wire needs to be. I'm going to add a little bit extra. I'm going to make this harness extra long so that when I go turbo and I can move the master sensor around, I don't have to worry about lengthening these later. So start making 4 wires the same length.
Caution, so greed and filth can thrive. Your neighbors are no strangers in a place ridden with greed. Cause all this world wants from you is to watch you fucking bleed. The catalyst is close to home. Is it really hard to see?
Hey guys. We have a harness. Needs to be stretched out a bit, but we've got the ends nice and soldered, individually heat shrunk, and there's a big chunk of heat shrink here on the end because this is going to be visible since it goes next. It's very stiff because of the amount of solder that's in it. And we've got something hanging from my finger. Then on the other end here, we have the 4 wires. So we've got 2 wires here for the mass air. This is the yellow I've marked very clearly on my sheet here, but the yellow is the mass air signal wire. And we've also soldered and heat shrunk a terminal on. And this is the mass air return wire that's also got the pin. And we've got the ground and the positive to tap into the harness. So this is ready to go. We need to feed this guy from the engine harness now to the computer. Okay guys, I got the mass air harness that I made plugged in. It is going right here into the side out of that plastic cap. I think it hides pretty well and also gives me some room to grow or move it if I need to. It's going directly into the side. It's going through the hole. I've got it tied up. Of course you can't see it because, you know, I'm notorious for not having light. But it's tied up here with the rest of the undertuck, and I've got it going into the hole right there in the corner and back inside the engine well, and it's right now, see, it's right there, so it's just coming out, and I've got it looped over here. So we got to now poke a hole and then grommet in your main engine harness here and get it into the other side right in front of the computer. So now it's time to take off the panel. Now inside of here. Okay guys, pop this clip off here. We're gonna go ahead and get this panel out of the way. Kind of carefully here, gently toss it to the back of the back seat. Alright, and I just realized the engine harness is behind the HVAC box, so it's gonna prove difficult. If you wonder where your ECU is, it is right there. There she is. Tucked up all nice and neat up in there, guys. I wish this was out of the way. Not a lot of room to work here. Excellent. Get yourself a 7mm. This is going to be the bolt to the computer. I'm going to move the computer out just to give myself more room to the wires behind it. Hopefully I can get to the engine harness with this removed. Now's a good time to clean up this wire here, which is your engine ground, going to the chassis engine ground. I mean, it's the ECU ground. Make sure this is nice and clean. Last time I did the carpet and I did the floor, I made sure that was a clean connection. Don't do that. Okay, and let's go ahead and take this clip out, and it should slide over. You might get yourself a 10mm. That's going to be for your computer here. This big nut holds the whole harness on. Okay, removes your computer harness. Now we'll remove the speed density computer, just like that. Let's see if I can feel up in here. Oh yeah, that's a little bit better. I cannot, but you know what I found? Is that a rubber grommet? Oh my, is that a rubber? Oh, that would be beautiful. Let's see what that goes to. Is that it? Is that the right hole? Is it? Hey, look at that. I found myself a spot. Let's see here. Found myself a spot right up in here, guys. This is where the ECU clicks in. Right behind it, there was a rubber grommet right there. Right up in there. And I pushed it out, and it's sure enough. Let me show you where it comes out at. Alright. Can you see back there? That is where it's going out of, right there. So that's perfect. That's going to allow me to tie it up and have plenty of room. Cool, man. So all the videos I've seen, they tell you to poke it into your harness, which is what I was starting to do here with a screwdriver. So I just murdered that grommet. They tell you to plug it into your main, which is right there, and I actually poked a hole through it and never found the other side of the screwdriver because my HVAC box is back there. So that's where we're gonna go with it, right there. Let me tie it up and we'll get back in the inside of the car. Okay, so I put the computer back up in here just to make sure that it'll fit, and it will. And there's now a little bit of a gap between here, but it'll sandwich down once I put the screw back in and hold it in place. So the computer fits fine. The wire's behind it, and need to probably move over a little bit, but we can position that, tied up against the main harness here with some zip ties. This is for, and yeah, we'll pull the computer back out and start getting to putting the new pins in. So we're going to try getting ready to separate this harness here, or the main engine connector, our ECU connector. So what we're going to do is just clip these off like that. That separates it. Alright, and here are all of our wires. Now this plastic piece is going to actually have to come out. This is what locks all these pins in place. So I don't have a pick. I'm going to try to use my knife here, kind of gently on the sides. Okay, here's your retainer. That's what locks all of our pins in place. Now what I've realized is if you turn the harness from the back side, or the front side, however you want to look at it, you can see the pin numbers are labeled on the pin side, not on the connection side. If you're like me, you've got quite a few printouts. This is kind of I need to bind this. I use this crap so much, it's so handy. I've got everything from 3G alternator wiring. I've got a vacuum diagram. This is what I'm looking for right here, guys. Electrical diagram, schematic diagram here. So, actually that's more of a schematic, but this is perfect. Let's take a look at this. Move this to the side. I'll show you what else I've got. I've got another electrical diagram here. This is handy. And ignition switch wiring. This is all stolen off the internet and printed out. Fuel tank plumbing system. EGR system diagram. Emission lines from 88. Different vacuum routing, or I'm sorry, serpentine belt routing, based off if you have small pump or alternator or AC removed. And we've got fuel injection wiring harness to, what is this? Oh, EGR. Looks like an EGR valve. And oh, look at this beautiful thing. 50A9L, A9P, and A9S connector wide connector wire side view. Woo! Look at this. Perfect. 1 through 20 on the first row, 21 through 40 on the second row, and 41 through 60 on the third row. Okay, guys, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the mass airflow return wire in pin 9. My mass airflow return wire is C, and it is the yellow wire since I don't have a tan wire. So yellow wire, we're going to go plug in to pin 9 right now. Pin 9 is second from 10. 10 is right here. My finger's on it. So there should be a blank spot right in front of it. And there is, if you can see that. So we're going to plug in the yellow wire, which is my mass air return, into that guy right there. 9, it does say 9 on it. Okay, notice how it clicked in. First wire is done. Okay guys, the mass airflow signal wire, blue on a harness if you buy one. For me it's green, is pin 50. 50 is going to be, look at my diagram, the last row next to the screw, next to the bolt here. Right there. And I see it labeled 50. This guy is going to go into 50. Okay. That's done. Now we need to move a couple wires around as well. Okay guys, now for the TAD sensor, we're going to move pin 11 to 32. Now, I just learned something new. And the way to get this out is to actually, there's a little piece of plastic. I'm going to oversimplify this. but there's a little piece of plastic that lays over the clip like this. You think you'd push on it to release it, but you don't. You actually slide the screwdriver underneath the piece of plastic, lift up on it, and that unlocks it from this groove in this channel, allows you to pull it out. So pin 11 has now been moved out, and we're going to move it to pin 32, which should be on our diagram second down from the bolt on the center row. Okay, and it's secure. So the tab sensor 11 to 32 has been moved. We're now going to move the tab sensor, which is pin 51 to 38. The next day, early morning, my big fat head was in the way. I just noticed that in the videos. I apologize. So let's recap what I did, and hopefully my head won't be in the way this time. But basically, I moved the tab and tad, which is your thermatic pump, and that moved from pin 38 to pin 51 on the EC. So let's check out the diagram real quick. Okay, so this is the tab here. It was in pin 51. It's been moved to pin 38. So 51 to 38 for the tab. We already moved the tad from pin 11 to 32. So the tab was moved, TAB, from 51 to 38. So you can see pin 51 here should have been taken out and moved to pin 38, which is third from the bottoms. Okay, for the tab, you can see it was in pin 51, which is right next to the post here, and is now empty. That has been removed, and moved into pin 38, which is third from the bottom on the middle row. So it's this kind of tan-looking wire, or white wire, right there. So that's been moved. I also tapped in the ground. The ground is going into pin 40. It's a big, larger black wire here. I went ahead and just kind of shaved off some of the sheathing on the outside of the wire, wrapped the black wire to the master harness to it, and then soldered it up, and then wrapped it with electrical tape. So this is nice and solid, secure. This will never come out. I'll have no worries about the power and ground. So I did the same thing to your power wire, which is going into pin, I think pin 57. So the power wire goes into pin 57. And it is right here. I did the same thing as far as tapping it and soldering it in. So that's good. So yeah, I'll check and make sure that the master harness now gets voltage when we turn the key on and plug the computer in. 11.9 volts, guys. Okay, it's got power. Is this a bad idea? This is probably a bad idea. I've got fuel pressure, I've got oil pressure. Computer harness is there, mass air has been hooked up. It runs. God damn, it's loud. It's midnight. Yeah, I didn't check oil pressure. I didn't want it to run long enough because I don't have coolant in it. Nothing's hooked up. Timing's right. Holy F. All that work we've done. God, think about all the work we've done. And it just fired up. No mufflers. Way too loud. It's such a good damn feeling. Oh yeah, there's no O2 sensors. It can't run without O2 sensors. It just did though. So you can see last night we went ahead and started up the car. That was probably a bad idea, but it gave me super confidence that the wiring, the essential wiring, is done. I mean, there's so much wiring that's been changed on this car. I mean, the engine harness, the fuel injector harness was added. Every piece that makes this engine run has been swapped and changed and altered in some way or another. So just hearing it run told me that I've got no smoke coming out of the EC or anything. We didn't burn anything up, no fuses blew, and it fired up, which means injector and the ignition system's getting spark, and we're getting fuel. So I'm confident we're gonna be running just fine here. So I don't care what anybody tells you. Do not leave the vehicle speed sensor or the fuel pump relay out. There's no reason to remove those. You will run into problems. It may work, it may run, you may not have any issues, but don't do that because the computer is expecting the vehicle speed sensor signal, and it's also expecting the fuel pump relay voltage. I don't care what you say, the 89 computer is expecting those two signals. If it doesn't get it, it may run, it may not run well, check engine light may come on, may stay on. If you want to do it right, guys, let's go ahead and finish the job, and let's go ahead and find the vehicle speed sensor positive and negative, and let's go ahead and tap to the fuel pump relay. So if we're gonna do it right. Yeah, well, we've done it now. So took the center console out, took the seat out so we can get a better access to the wires. What I'm looking at here is the fuel pump relay and a wiring schematic to an 89 Mustang. I have determined that the fuel pump monitor is the pink and black wire, and it goes into this terminal here under your fuel pump relay. That matches this terminal right here on my fuel pump relay. You can see that it's the same shape, and that is the pink and black wire, which on my car is also right there, pink and black. So this is what I will be tapping into, running under the carpet and to the pin, which is going to end up being pin 19 on the ECU. Now the vehicle speed sensor is orange, and I told you guys wrong. The vehicle speed sensor also displayed here, if I can find it right here. Yeah, the vehicle speed sensor here is a yellow on orange, so it's an orange wire with a yellow stripe. This is the vehicle speed sensor negative, and the positive is dark green and white. So I'm going to locate these, and I think I have found them into the harness right here. This is the harness that goes into the side of your floorboard, and there's a plug that goes out to your trans tunnel, and then these plugs and these wires go to all the electronics into your transmission. Kind of further looking at this harness, I have managed to find the orange wire with the yellow stripe and the green wire with the white stripe. They are in fact right next to each other right here. So the yellow wire with the the orange wire here with the yellow stripe is a vehicle speed sensor negative. So that's going to go into your pin 6. The green and white wire is your vehicle speed sensor positive, and it's going to go into pin number 3. So that is where I'm going to tap into and run these guys over down there to the ECU. Okay, I've made up the vehicle speed sensor wire harness. Again, we got the pins nice and soldered and heat shrunk, going to the 2 only color cables I really have left here, which is green and black, but I've got them marked here on what pin goes where. The green wire is going to go into pin 3. This is going to be the positive wire for the vehicle speed sensor. And this guy has got a little 6 on it. This is going to go into pin 6 for the vehicle speed sensor negative, which is the yellow wire. And I've also got it labeled on the opposite end here just so there's no confusion. The black wire is vehicle speed sensor negative, and the green one here is vehicle speed sensor positive. So let's get this thing tapped in. I'm going to actually use taps on this one, and we'll run it over to the ECU. Okay, the vehicle speed sensor is tapped in, and these are actually strong. I don't know, maybe I just used it wrong yesterday. These aren't coming out. They're fine. So yeah, I got the black wire going for the vehicle speed sensor negative, and the green wire is the positive. It's looped up here and through the carpet. Okay, so it's all the way to the computer here. So we've got our pins here, and I've got them labeled where they're going to go. I trust my labeling. So this is the green wire, which is going to go into pin 3. Yeah, this is vehicle speed sensor positive. So this is green positive, and the orange here is the negative that goes into 6. So let's find pin 3 and plug this guy in. Pin 3 is easily identifiable here. Pin 3 is 3rd from the top left. So this should be empty on mine, and we'll plug this guy in. So I'm going to go right there. Clicks right in. And our vehicle speed sensor negative is going to go into 6. Right there. Okay, it's clicked in solid. wrap that up in there. Okay. Now to the fuel pump relay, guys. Okay, guys, I'm just going to run the vehicle. I'm going to run the fuel pump relay wire through a fish here, or one of these rods. Hoping I can just get it. Yeah, underneath the carpet, and find it through here. Okay, the fuel pump relay monitor has been tied into the pink and black wire on the relay. It's running under the carpet, up through here, and now it's coming out on this side where it has been terminated with another pin here. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this into, and I believe it goes to, I'll double check on my sources here, the fuel pump relay monitor goes to pin 19. Pink and black stripe. Let's go double check on my chart. That is also what I see. Fuel pump relays, pin 19 right there. Fuel pump monitor, black and pink. That's where it should go, pin 19. So first thing we're going to do is put the red retainer back in. All these wires zip tied up here out of place. Okay, got everything kind of tucked back up in there. Still need some buttoning up, and I've got a lot of cleanup to do. Man, I'm excited. I'm so stoked. So why am I stoked? Come on now, you know. Get fired up. I'm about to turn the key on the thing again just to make sure nothing pops and explodes, smokes. But listen, guys, I have to cut it here. This video is way too long. It's way long because there's so much involved, and I didn't want to miss a step. Hope you watch it on. I hope it's useful. Hopefully we did everything right. We won't really know until we drive it, but I feel confident that everything is done the correct way, and that's all you can do, right? So guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. We'll see you next time. Take care.